Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to discuss the properties of operations on integers. For our learning objectives, after going through this lesson, you are expected to illustrate the different properties of operations on the set of integers. Let's start off with the closure property. When we say closure property, it is when an operation on members of a set always makes a member of the same set. So we have here illustrations for you to understand the concept of a closure property. So for this first illustration, yung nasa left side, makikita natin that this is a closed set. Meaning lahat ng mga members doon sa set na ito ay pare-parehas. Member siya ng iisang set. Unlike dito sa right side ng illustration, hindi siya closed set kasi merong naligaw, merong member, okay, na hindi naman kabilang doon talaga sa loob ng set. Another illustration, 3 marbles with Sally plus 4 marbles got from brother is equal to 7 total marbles. So, kung titignan natin dito, itong 7 total marbles na ito ay galing din mismo sa set ng marbles with Sally and the marbles that she got from her brother. Diba? So, ayan yung illustration or yung concept ng closure property. So, closure property for addition, if A and B are real numbers, then A plus B is unique and real. Meaning, when we add two real numbers, okay, then the sum will be a unique and a real number as well. And we also have closure property for multiplication. If A and B are real numbers, then A times B is unique and real. Meaning, when we multiply two real numbers, the product will be a unique and a real number also. Okay, so this just simply means that if we add or multiply any two real numbers together, we will get an answer that is also a real number. And there can be only one answer, and that is what we call unique number. For example, 8 plus 5 is equal to 13. So 8 and 5 are real numbers, and 13 is a unique and a real number. Itong 13 na ito ay kabilang din naman siya sa set ng 8 at ng 5. Diba? So, ito yung kabuuan. Another, in multiplication, 5 times 3 is equal to 15. 5 and 3 are both real numbers. Then, therefore, the product is a unique and a real number as well. The second one, we have the commutative property. So, we have here another illustration. 3 plus 2 apples is equal to 5 apples. This is just the same with 2 plus 3 apples. Diba? 5 pa rin yung lalabas. So, in mathematics, A plus B is just equal to B plus A. So, meaning, changing the order of two numbers that are either being added or multiplied does not change its value. So, even if we change the order of two numbers using multiplication or addition, the value or the answer will remain the same. For example, 4 plus 3 is just equal to 3 plus 4. The sum is still 7. Diba? Parehas sila na ang sagot ay 7 din. Another, negative 5 plus 7 is just equal to 7 plus negative 5. The sum is equal to 2. For multiplication, 2 times 8 is equal to 8 times 2. The product is 16. Another example, negative 3 times positive 15 is just equal to 15 times negative 3. The product is negative 45. Take note na kapag nakakita tayo ng parenthesis, ang operation na ini-imply nito ay multiplication. Okay? And for multiplication of integers, when we multiply same sign integers, okay, the answer will always be a positive number. On the other hand, when we multiply different signs integers, the product will be negative. The same with the division of integers. Same sila ng rules. Pag same sign, positive ang sagot. Kapag different signs, laging negative. Take note of that. Another property of operation, we have the associative property. Okay, so for this illustration, for example, ito yung magkaka-classmate, okay? Sa unang groupings, ang magkasama ay si X and Y. Sa pangalawang groupings, ang magkasama ay si Y and Z. Kahit pa mag-iba sila ng groupings, the same pa rin yung magiging outcome. Kumbaga kasi sila pa rin naman yung tao. Okay? In mathematics, when we say associative property, changing the grouping of numbers that are either being added or multiplied does not change its value. Sa commutative, ang nagbabago ay order. Sa associative, ang nagbabago ay grouping. Okay? And of course, hindi rin nagbabago yung value. Okay? Kapag multiplication or addition. Example, 2 plus quantity 4 plus 3 is equal to quantity 2 plus 4 plus 3. The answer is still 9. Diba? Kahit nagbago yung grouping, dito sa left side ng equation, ang magka-group ay si 4 and 3. Sa right side, si 2 and 4. Same pa rin yung result. For multiplication, 3 times quantity 4 times 5 is just equal to quantity 3 times 4 times 5. The result is equal to 60. Next one, we also have what we call the distributive property. So, from the word itself, distribute. Okay? So, for example, 2 times the quantity of 6 oranges plus 12 strawberries is just equal to 2 times 6 oranges plus 2 times 12 strawberries. Meaning, we just distribute the 2. Okay? To the 6 oranges and to the 12 strawberries. So, kahit mauna yung addition or mauna yung multiplication, kapag gumamit tayo ng distributive property, same pa rin yung magiging value. Okay? So, for any integers A, B, and C, A times the quantity of B plus C is equal to A times B plus A times C. Okay? So, yan yun. Adding first before multiplying or distributing the factor to each addend will give the same result. Okay? Example. 2 times the quantity of 3 plus 4 is equal to 2 times 3 plus 2 times 4. So, dinistribute natin si 2 doon sa addend, sa 3 and sa 4. So, kahit mauna natin na mag-add tayo, so 3 plus 4 is equal to 7 times 2, diba? And for this, kung uunahin natin yung multiplication, 2 times 3 is 6 and 2 times 4 is 8. So, same pa din. The result is equal to 14, diba? So, that's the distributive property. Next one, we have what we call the identity property. Ano naman yung identity? We have what we call the additive identity, which is 0. Meaning, when we add 0 to any number, the sum is the given number. Diba? Okay? And for the multiplication, the multiplicative identity is 1. Meaning, any number that we multiply by 1, the product will be the given number. The identity property of addition states that the sum of any number and 0 is the given number. 0 is the additive identity. Tandaan yan. For example, 1 plus 0 is equal to 1. 20 plus 0 is equal to 20. Okay? So, identity. Yun pa din yung lalabas, yung given number. And for the identity property of multiplication, it states that the product of any number and 1 is the given number. 1 is the multiplicative identity. Don't forget about that. Okay, so for example, 15 times 1 is equal to 15, and 1 times 100 is equal to 100. So it is easy to understand. Next, we also have what we call the inverse property. When we say inverse, the opposite. Okay? So, for example, in a transparent box, we put in 14 stones. Ayan. Kapag inalis natin lahat ng stones na yon, yung 14 din, diba? What will be the answer? Or ano yung matitira? Of course, 0. Ganun yung idea ng inverse property. So, a plus negative a is equal to 0. Or negative a plus a is equal to 0. So, inverse property for addition, for any integer a plus negative a is equal to 0. The opposite of the given integer is called its additive inverse. Okay? The sum of a number and its additive inverse is 0. For example, 10 plus negative 10 is equal to 0. Additive inverse sila. Diba? Same number pero magkaiba ng sign. But when we get the sum is 0. Another, we have negative 7 plus 7 is still equal to 0. So, yan yung additive inverse. Okay? For the multiplicative inverse, the reciprocal of the given integer is called its multiplicative inverse. The product of a number and its multiplicative inverse is 1. Okay? So, dito naman, ang lalabas or ang magiging product ay 1. Sa additive inverse, 0. Okay? Example, 3 times 1/3 is equal to 1. Multiplicative inverse ng 3 ay 1/3. Kumbaga, binaliktad natin, diba? In a sense kasi kapag whole number, laging may over 1, diba? May denominator na 1. So, 3 over 1, when we get its multiplicative inverse, that would be 1/3. And when we multiply them, the product is always 1. Another, 4 times 1/4. The product is still 1. Another example for 3/4 times 4/3. Diba? 3/4 times 4/3 or 4 over 3. When we multiply them, since they are multiplicative inverse, the product is still 1. Okay? Okay, for our last property, we have the zero property of multiplication. So, for any integer a times 0 is equal to 0. Okay, so any number that we multiply by 0, the product is equal to 0. 15 times 0 is 0. 0 times 10 is 0. So, that's all for the properties of operations on integers. Now, let's practice what you have learned. Complete the following to make true statements, then determine the property applied. So, sagutan nyo siya habang piniplay itong video. Okay? For number 1, 5 plus negative 8 is equal to negative 8 plus blank. What is the missing number? Of course, it is 5. And what is the property being applied? This is a commutative property. Okay. Second, we have negative 4 times quantity 2 plus 4 is equal to negative 4 times blank plus negative 4 times blank. So, what are the missing numbers? We have, for the first one, or the first blank, we have the positive 2, and then, sa second one, ay positive 4. So, saan nanggaling yan? Dito sa group na ito. So, what is the property being applied? It is distributive property. Because we distribute negative 4 to the addends. Diba? Isa-isa, negative 4 times 2, ito siya, plus negative 4 times 4. Ito yan. Okay? For the third one, quantity 8 plus 3 plus 7 is equal to blank plus quantity 3 plus 7. What is the missing number? That is positive 8. Okay? So, ang nagbago dito, there is a change in groupings. Diba? Nung una, si 8 and 3 ang magka-group, dito sa right side ng equation, si 3 and 7 na. So, the property being applied is associative property because there is a change in grouping. Fourth one, negative 10 is equal to negative 10 plus blank. This is 0. Okay? So what is the property? Identity property. Diba? Kasi nga, any number that we add to 0, the sum will be the given number. For the fifth one, 2 plus blank is equal to 0. That is negative 2. Okay? So since sila ay additive inverse, diba? Si 2 and si negative 2, then therefore the property being applied is inverse or the additive inverse. Okay, so that's all for this lesson and for this video. I hope you have learned a lot.